Appreciate that concession, Jeremy. Let's talk about some game consoles that don't exist yet, huh? So
Yeah.
I had the thought during the week, yesterday actually, maybe I want to say. Yeah, it was yesterday because I loaded up Jack 2 and you get that sweet zoom of the PlayStation 2 logo splash effect, which is just so fantastic. Just nostalgic gold. Just brilliant. I loved it. But I noticed it wasn't a PS2 logo. It wasn't a PlayStation Studios logo. That didn't exist. It just said PlayStation 2, full title. And it got me thinking, are they really going to call it the PlayStation 6?
Yeah, they are.
I don't know that they are, Jeremy, because PS6 is a terrible abbreviation. PS1, PS2, PS3, PS4, PS5, it all works. It's got the different distinctions between the consonants and the numbers and the letters. Like, they're all different enough that it flows. PS6, it's awful. PS6.
So, are you saying that they go the route of the Marvel, for example, which is just the Sony PlayStation?
Interesting.
Because that's one of mine.
Maybe that's a good one. I like that. What was your rationale behind that one?
It's the rationale that I have for everything that wants to remove numbers and names and stuff. It's that you want people to get in on this one without feeling like they are missing out.
Right.
And also, it's less to Google.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels like it's a platform at that point. It is not an iteration. Right. It is the one you get.
Yeah, and I think that's what they do when they get to like a streaming box, where I don't know if that's the next generation, but when it moves to streaming predominantly, I think that will be a more platform based thing. Yeah, the Sony PlayStation is a good call.
Yeah, it's called Marvel's Spider-Man, for example.
Yeah, no, totally. The thing that's got me thinking about it is like, or thinking that they won't call it a PS6, is like when the numbers get big enough, the numbers do start to lose meaning, and like you see that with like Samsung Galaxy numbers where they went like 7, 8, 9, 10, 20, 21, like. You got to mix it up. It's like, well, this one's so much better. It's 10 more than the last one. And like, it's all fake.
Yeah.
But they're not going to make a PlayStation 10, you know? Like, that's too much, I feel. They're not going to make a PlayStation 14.
Look, they might, but I think so. Okay, so you want to know my hottest of all takes?
No, not really, Jeremy.
when it comes to tech naming, I think that Apple hate the name iPhone at this point.
Why is that?
Because they have moved away from XYZ in every single one of their pieces of technology, in all their software, apart
even
from
the iMacs.
iPhone. Yep, I think. Oh, that might be one of the only ones.
I think that's the only other one.
Hey,
I think that's the only other one.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, like it's iPhone, iPad, and iMac might be the only ones that are left. Their software isn't even called iOS anymore. It's called Apple OS.
Mac OS.
Yeah. Maybe it is still iOS. I don't remember.
Yeah, it's iMac 24-inch.
Sure.
That's the only thing in their computer lineup that has an i. Then iPad, iPhone, watch.
Yes, yeah,
AirPods.
It's the Apple Watch. It's the AirPods. It's Apple Music.
Apple TV Plus.
There's no iTunes anymore. There's no iPods. They are now officially discontinued completely, 100% as of a few months ago.
That's funny. I wonder if they're moving away from it because like
they want the word
because
Apple.
it was so funny when they did make the iPhone and how everything that was meant to be smart, that was associated with being smart, started adopting whatever. There's so many things that still use I in front of their name, like small businesses and little tech companies that have random things, because that's a good indicator that you were making a product in between 2008 and 2010.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's fascinating. It's fascinating they're moving away from it.
So I think in the next 5 years, we will see the launch of the Apple phone.
Mm,
And they will move
Right.
away from iPhone.
that'll be a sad day. Well, yeah, not really. Now
who
that I've
cares?
said that, who cares? I actually won't shed any tears about that.
Yeah.
And when you look at I don't know, when you look at like a phone release, they've gone to like iPhone 13.
Yeah.
Did they skip a number?
They skipped
9. Yeah. And they went to X, and then they went to 11.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, because they skipped 9 and Windows also skipped 9.
that's true. And that's because that's a taboo number in some culture somewhere.
I think. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird that they both do it.
Yeah. I think Samsung did it too. I don't think they had a Galaxy 9.
Yeah.
I think they might have had an 8 then a 10.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah. But it's interesting because they iterate so frequently, right? Whereas opposed to a games console, like a PlayStation 13 is like 30 years away. It's probably like 40 or 50 years away within the current like cycle and where we are and how long these things usually take.
Yeah.
Like that's so far away. So yeah, it kind of feels like at that point that kind of thing is a bit trite. That like just continually adding a number and adding a number and adding a number. It's like, oh, what's new with this one? I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think the thing is at this point that the game consoles are larger than the names that they are, so it doesn't matter as much.
True. I mean, Xbox has proved that.
Yeah.
With all of their names.
Yeah.
The only thing I could see them doing is if they do call it PlayStation 6, it's similar to how they started the PlayStation 3 generation, where it was the
Spider-Man
full
font.
name. Well, Spider-Man font, but the full name. Like when you look at game cases from like 2008, it says PlayStation 3 along the whole spine. And then later on, they've shortened it and it just says PS3 at the top. I could see them maybe just saying PlayStation 6. It's a whole thing.
Maybe. Do you have any other PlayStation names, Gary?
I got a bunch of. They're the ones I got the most of PlayStation names.
Okay.
For like whole step while we're talking about PlayStation, I was thinking if they don't call it PlayStation 6, they're probably calling it something else because they're changing something about it, right? Maybe it's going full streaming. In which case, I thought of a couple of different ones. We've got PlayStation Next, which I don't mind, but I don't think they'd go to because it shortens to PSN, which they already have. They already have a PlayStation Network.
Didn't they change the name of it?
I don't know.
Didn't it get at some point? It's not called PSN anymore. It's called Sony Interactive Entertainment Network or something.
I'm not sure.
That's a deep memory that I'm trying to dig out from like 8 years ago.
Useless memory.
Yeah, it is. It's really dumb and useless. And I remember the only change that it made was it changed the logo on the PS3 fucking cross media bar.
Yeah, that was from like Sony Entertainment to like Sony Interactive Entertainment or something, right? That was like an SIE thing.
Yeah. But I want to say they changed. I'll have a look.
Okay. So that was one of them. And then I'm like, no, I don't think they want a PSN. And so then I thought a PSS, a PlayStation Send. I thought that'd be a... Yeah, you're right. That's too easy. They're definitely not going to do that. I didn't think of that. But a PlayStation Send, I thought, is appropriately faffy. They like a lot of their things. Like they just announced PlayStation Stars, which is their loyalty program, and they have PlayStation Plus, and they had PlayStation Now, like PlayStation Portable. Like they want like quick bits at the end of their PlayStation name. So I'm thinking like, what's the one syllable thing here? You got an answer for us, Jeremy?
At some point, it was called the Sony Entertainment Network, but I think they just slowly walked that back because it wasn't nearly as good.
Entertainment Network, yeah. PlayStation Entertainment, or Sony Entertainment Network.
Yeah, because it was called SEN for a bit, and then it was.
Yeah.
I think they just slowly started. It was like when they went from BattleNet to the Blizzard launcher, and then they just walked it all the way back to BattleNet again because it's a much better name.
Tim in the chat has pointed out, why wouldn't you name the PlayStation the Piss? The Nintendo Wii already exists, which is an excellent point. The other one I laughed at when I wrote it, which is what you were asking me about, Jeremy, is when I started talking about, what's it like a all digital PlayStation? I'm like, maybe they're going to talk about like packet loss, the PlayStation packet,
What the fuck?
the PlayStation ping.
Jesus.
I thought that was funny.
What the hell?
PlayStation latency.
Do you have any for the half? Do you have any more for the next step, or do you want to do the PlayStation half steps?
We can move on to PlayStation half steps.
Because I've got a couple of these.
Yeah.
I've got all right. So
for context for the podcast, we just did like what's going to happen for the brand new whole new generation. But if they do similar to PlayStation 4 to PlayStation 4 Pro or Xbox One to Xbox One X, if they do a half step this generation, what are these names going to be?
So maybe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, Jim Ryan. He loves his games, Jim Ryan.
Definitely the thing he loves the most,
yep.
Except for money.
He loves his games. He loves his RPGs. What's his favorite? What's his favorite RPG, Kerry?
Jim Ryan's favorite RPG.
What's his favorite RPG?
Oh my god.
You're right.
Wild
Kerry.
Arms.
You're right. It is Final Fantasy 13 2, and so he decides to call this console the PlayStation 5-2.
Oh, the 5-2. The 5-2.
The PlayStation 5-2.
I've always hated that naming scheme.
Yeah.
When they did it for 10, for Final Fantasy 10, and then they did it again for 13.
Yeah, and then they did 13.3 as well. But then they put the subtitle at the front for 13.3, so it was even more confusing.
But so PlayStation 5-2 is that's a half step. That's a 5 Pro. That's not a PlayStation 6.
Yes.
Oh. What a tactical disaster.
Another tactical disaster. We have the PlayStation 5 Plus.
Oh, yep. That's one they definitely shouldn't do.
Because it's like, we got this other brand.
We've got PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, what if we call the PS5 Plus?
It is semi-consistent, but I think it becomes a bit confusing.
I forgot to actually mention what I think is my best PlayStation name, which is not this is a full generational leap. I'm stepping back a minute.
You're jumping around a bit.
Yeah. The PlayStation 6 Axis. they bring it back.
The PlayStation 6 Axis.
Yeah.
You got to move the whole console to get that gyroscopic aiming.
Yeah.
If you want to tilt left and right as Ratchet on a glider.
No rumble though.
No rumble.
No rumble.
I can't believe they did that. I can't believe they came out with the 6-axis and then they came out with the DualShock 3.
Well, because the Xbox, I want to say maybe the first 360 controllers didn't have rumble. They might have. I feel like it wasn't used much at the beginning.
Rookie mistake. It's foundational. It's just so much better.
It is. I'm with you.
Do you remember when you and I were working at EB? I don't know if you were there at the time, but someone traded in.
No, I was there because I had to tell you.
Right.
I was the one that helped, that educated a little bit.
I think you must have been there after the fact. I only found out like a day or two after I did the trade.
Yeah, I was there. I was there a little bit after. I was like, why are these a refurb?
But someone came in to do a trade, and they were trading in their PlayStation 3 controller, and it was a 6-axis only controller. It wasn't a DualShock 3.
Yeah.
And the 6-axis, it doesn't have all the rumble motors, so it's way lighter. And I'm looking at this
really
thing, and it's got
light.
the official Sony branding on it, and it says 6-axis, but not DualShock. And I'm like, I think this is a knockoff, man. I think this is like, and I'm holding it, I'm shaking it. I'm like, it feels like there's nothing in there. I don't think this is a real control. Like, I think this is a third-party one. But like it looks really official. Like they've got like the detail sticker on the back with all of the like copyright, and I'm like, this is borderline like copyright infringement. This is weird. And so I put it in for like repair as a third-party controller. And then, Jeremy saw it, was like, no, this is what they came out with originally, which is just so
I've got
asinine.
one. I've got an almost launch PS3.
Oh, does it back compat?
No, that's why it's not launch. It's almost launch, but it wasn't part of that initial.
They went back on that so quickly.
Yeah.
They flipped it so quickly because they had to cut costs because the thing didn't sell because it was $1,000 in Australia.
Yeah.
Um,
I have one final PlayStation name.
yeah.
The V2. VITWO.
As in Vita.
As in Vita.
V2.
Vito. V2.
So for the mid-step for the PlayStation 5, they're going to call it the PlayStation V2.
This might not necessarily be a mid-step.
As in the second PlayStation Vita, but it's also the second PlayStation 5.
Yeah, it's the PlayStation 5 V2.
Is that because it's the
Vita.
V in this instance is standing in for Roman numerals 5?
Yeah, let's go with that. Even though when you spell it out, it's VITWO.
It's a Vitwo.
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 Right, you got any more
Jeremy,
PlayStation?
that's dreadful.
Yeah, oh yeah. I've got three columns. I've got mid steps, I've got whole generational leaps, and I've got other
garbage.
Yeah, that's in the other column.
I've got a couple here. I realized I've kind of reused one from my whole step in my mid step, but I got PlayStation 5 Pro. I think that's an easy answer. It worked for them for the 4. I can see them doing it again for 5.
Yeah.
PlayStation 5er, not like the freelance brand, but like a tenner, like a $5 note.
Yeah, sure.
Or it's a PlayStation 5 like it's even more 5 than the last 5.
Oh, okay.
There's also the PlayStation 5 ever.
Ugh.
And then I said PlayStation Next before, but I've also written here PlayStation 5 Next.
Yeah, right.
I think I'm clearly stuck on it. Jeremy, for the other brands, I've got a lot of mid-step suggestions and next to no whole-step suggestions.
And it's hard because I think Xbox are they are doing mid-step and whole step to next gens, but they're blurring the line more because they want you to play it on any one that you've got. So they
want you to play it on Chrome.
Yeah. So I think the next whole step. So for this one, I have two columns. I have what it will probably be called, whether it's a mid-step or a whole step. I don't really know, but the names could go either. And I've got what if they change everything completely.
And this is for Xbox.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've got what I genuinely think it'll probably just be called is, here we have the Xbox X and we have the Xbox S. No one...
Xbox X, Xbox S.
Yeah. There's no one.
Interesting.
There's no series. It's just, this is the Xbox X and this is the Xbox S. Can
I ask, Jeremy, is that because they're not coming out with another Xbox console after this? Or...
Maybe... I think the priorities of this console will be quite different to the priorities of the current console. It's a different thing at that point, right? I have the Xbox Pass.
The Xbox Pass, that would fit in really well with Xbox's habit of naming things really similarly to how their other things that are successful and well known are named.
Yes.
And
I think that could be.
I don't know if they want to go near their Game Pass marketing though. I think they know it's their best thing. I don't think they want to pollute it.
But that might be their streaming stick, right? That might be the streaming xCloud solution.
The Xbox ticket.
I think you've said this before.
Have I?
I think so.
That's a good one. The Xbox ticket for your Xbox Game Pass?
Yeah. Xbox Mikey. And finally, I have another one here, but this doesn't work for a console. This works for if they introduce an additional tier for their streaming systems or their Game Pass thing.
I think that's fair enough. Go on.
Which is to call it Game Pass Elite and Game Pass Arcade.
Right. What is the difference between them?
It's a Nintendo and Sony both have tiers in their Game Pass thing, so why don't Microsoft?
Right. I could see that being if you want when they
premiere,
finally start coming out with new games, Starfield comes out, everyone loves it. Avowed comes out, everyone loves it. It's like, hey, if you want new games day and date, you have to get Game Pass Elite. And at that point, when they do that, they get rid of games with gold, maybe.
Yeah.
So they can get rid of Game Pass Ultimate.
Yes. Well, I mean, Game Pass Ultimate is the cross-play one as well.
So you want to keep Game Pass Ultimate
I
and
don't know.
Arcade
I don't
and
know.
Elite?
I don't have solutions.
Okay.
I'm giving you more
I'm
options.
an ideas man.
Yeah.
I came up with a couple just then while we were talking. When I was talking about the Xbox ticket, I thought the Xbox for your Game Pass, for your Xbox Game Pass, you could put it on the Xbox ticket inspector. Which I thought was funny. You've also got the Xbox stick.
Yeah, that is. I think
An Xbox stick.
Yeah.
I think that is like, it sounds simple,
stick
and
box.
I think, yeah, and I think that might convey how simple they want it to be for streaming, like whatever their streaming device is for TVs, the Xbox stick or
Xbox Cast.
The Game Pass, the Game Pass Cast. That's a good one. Xbox Game Pass Cast. With what?
The Gamecast.
That's not bad. It sounds a little bit like Dreamcast.
Yeah.
Which I don't like.
Yeah.
But then what I thought of, if they come up with another series-like name, if they come up with another Xbox whatever, like 360, 721 series, new iteration, the Xbox Charge might not be bad.
Charge? It sounds like it cost you money. The Xbox fee.
No, like electricity. Like Surge.
The Xbox bill.
Xbox BPay.
The Xbox Direct Debit.
The Xbox Afterpay.
All right,
4 easy installments.
To work off of that, I had another little one, which is like maybe like the Xbox Future, or like the Xbox, like, I don't know, the Xbox Bolt or something, right? Like, they want it to be snappy, they want it to be immediate. The Xbox Now, they could honestly just call it.
Yeah, they could do that. Xbox Lightning, Xbox Thunder. He's getting silly.
My final Xbox one here is called the Next Box.
Next Box, yeah. I mean, that's a favorite name for like publications to use when they're talking about next gen stuff. Before we get like the code name, before we get the Scarlet and the Scorpio titles.
Scarlet and Scorpio are such cool names.
Yeah. Which one was Scarlet? Scarlet was the Series S, wasn't it? Because they announced what the Series X was going to be ages before.
Yeah, because Scorpio was the Series X.
Yeah.
What was the 1X? Was that Scarlet?
No, that was Scorpio.
Oh.
No, so that was Scorpio. Because remember when they announced the 1X? Sorry, you said Series X, and I didn't realize you didn't say 1X because their naming system sucks. When they announced Scorpio, they came out with a Project Scorpio model. You remember that? And it had like a scorpion on the motherboard that you couldn't see, and
it had the word like Project Scorpio on the front.
Yeah, something like that. And
it was on the controller as well, and I think inside of it was like a printed signature from Phil or something.
No, it was a scorpion.
No, sorry. On the inside of the battery case on the controller, I think there was a little thing.
Phil the Scorpion Spencer.
Yeah.
Tim says Xbox Heart Gold and Soul Silver.
Yeah. Which
is hinting at one of my future answers, actually. I've got a few mid-step answers for Xbox that I haven't gone through.
Go for it.
I just love the idea that they've got this series name and they've already given us X and S, which I think are kind of the best letters, and they say what they want really well. And I hope they don't move away from those, because while they sound similar, I think they display really well. I think they convey their meaning really well. But I just love the idea of them using more letters. The Xbox F, the Xbox Series I, the Xbox Series W, like
G and T are funny letters to put, like the Xbox
Series T. It just like really off ones. The Xbox Series D, like what is that? Why pick that one? I don't know.
The Xbox One W.
Exactly. Stands for winner.
Yeah.
And then if they do come out soon with like a streaming thing, it could be the Xbox Cloud Series.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah,
great,
I
but
can-
it keeps it more Xbox branded, and it keeps it
I know what that
semi-related
is.
to the series branding.
Yeah, I can read that and then piece together what that is.
So they probably won't do that.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Maybe they might just do like the Xbox Cloud X.
Xbox Cloud, yeah. Yeah. I wonder if they probably won't return to the X Cloud name because that was always like a working title and they've moved away from it.
Yeah, now it's
it's just game streaming.
yeah, Xbox Game Stream.
Yeah, which is very boring. But also it's only a feature. It's a feature of other things. Like you don't buy game streaming.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shall we move on to Nintendo?
Let's do it. I'm gonna say the one I say every time. What I wish it is.
Yes, please do. I think I've already written it down because I like it so much.
Super Nintendo Switch.
Such a good name. Is this a half or a whole step, Jeremy? Who the hell knows?
Step. No, it's a half step because it's still a Switch.
Step.
Still a Switch.
So this is a Nintendo Switch Pro.
Yeah.
Which I definitely think they're never going to call it that.
They're not going to call it that. The leaked name is like the Nintendo Switch. I think it's called the new Nintendo Switch is what it's called.
Right, okay.
Or, yeah, because it's not even Pro. I think it's just called the new Nintendo Switch, which is like, ugh, shit name. I hate the word new at the front of it. I think that's an awful...
For that to be a part of a product name, yeah, it's
really
terrible
annoying.
because it's a descriptor. Because people will be like, oh, I want to get the new Nintendo Switch. What is that again? It's like, oh, it's what it's called. And then when it's old, you have to be like, oh, sorry, this only runs on the new Nintendo Switch. That's part of the name of the console because there's like just 3DS and then there's new 3DS. And, it's just bloody...
Yeah.
I don't miss working retail for those reasons where I actually just can't explain anything clearly to my customers because the companies have made ass backwards decisions.
Yeah.
What
do you got?
I've just got written here Nintendo Switch. Why did I write that?
I don't know. Did
That's
you put
just
any others?
what it's called already. Delete that. And then I wrote, Super Nintendo Switch. I think that's a fantastic name. When you came up with that, I thought that was fantastic. I could easily see them doing new Nintendo Switch because that's what they did with the 3DS, but they've never really done what they've done before. So who knows? Like there was never a 3DSu. There was never a new Nintendo Wii. They haven't reused their half-step naming conventions for. There was never a DS SP. There was never a 3DSi.
No,
you know, it was
yeah.
All of those things they used to modify their consoles are brand new every time. I don't think we'll see another Nintendo Lite console like the Switch Lite again.
Well, we did for the DS. That was the only time.
DS Lite? Oh, I did forget about that. There were so many different versions of the DS. But what I do have here is Nintendo Switch Hub. And my reasoning for that is because I can see them not coming out with a particularly stronger handheld system, but maybe something that's a bit more of an intense dock that empowers older Switch systems to run better. And also means they don't have to make any better silicon and maybe can make them get more things out of production. Because the reason that we don't have a Switch Pro yet is because of production issues. They've frozen it.
It's just a power brick.
It's actually just a cable with a brick in the middle that you can plug into your existing dock, and it just gives it more watts.
It turns off the screen, but if you override that, the screen's just twice as bright.
Yeah, if you solder on your own USB-C connection, your Nintendo Switch turns into studio lighting.
Yeah, it's a key light. Yeah, look, I could see something like that. I think they'd call it something a bit more pedestrian, like the Nintendo Switch Home.
Yeah.
Or the Nintendo Switch House.
Oh, got the hiccup, sorry.
Yeah,
Nintendo Switch House is good.
Yeah. I've got one here. This is clearly not a serious one.
Mm-hmm.
The Super Nintendo Cease and Desist.
Uh-huh. Just so it's clear.
Yeah, they're preempting. anybody that tries to play their games not how they want you to play them. But it also doubles as that if you own any of their games on the previous console, you still get a letter.
So what if you can only buy the Nintendo Switch cease and desist if you register all of your previous Nintendo consoles, including like serial numbers, and so then they can monitor that usage and under your like Nintendo account, and if those two things match, they're like, no,
if you
bought the cease and desist.
When you buy the Nintendo Switch cease and desist, sorry, the Super Nintendo cease and desist, it comes with a gun.
Like a light gun or a Glock?
No, like a Magnum.
Oh, holy fuck.
And it makes you destroy your old versions of those games in front of it before it will work. And if it doesn't, it calls the cops.
Oh my god. It's good. That's horrendous.
It's more than a threat, it's a promise.
They're called the Nintendo Police. They're here to enforce your new entertainment. Tim says Nintendo Copyright Strike Plus. I think that's a good riff.
Yeah. Sorry, you got some? Go for it.
I've got a bad. I could only come up with one bad answer for the whole step for like what comes after the Switch.
Mm-hmm.
I just wrote Nintendo don't.
Nintendo don't?
No, not that. Nintendo don't.
Okay.
I don't know why. I just couldn't come up with anything better.
Alright.
Because they go so strange with it. I don't know what they're going to do next. Have you got anything for their whole steps? I've got one more like Switch mid-step one, but
I've got I don't know, because I've got weird ones now.
Right, okay.
I've got, if they made a more powerful Switch, they might want to push in a little bit and call it the Switch Deck.
Oh, the Switch Deck. I like that. I don't think they would, but I like it.
The final one I've got, which I quite like this name, but I don't know what for. Maybe it's a whole step, but I do quite like this name. It's called the Joy Console.
Oh, Nintendo Joy Console.
Yeah, because they've got the Joy-Con, just the Joy controller.
Yeah.
But the Joy Console.
Does the Joy Console come with stick drift?
No, weirdly enough, it is not Joy-Con compatible.
Oh. That's so funny. They did make the Wii U compatible with Wii controllers.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
And they made the Wii compatible with the GameCube controllers.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Yeah, their backwards compatibility has been historically quite good.
Yeah, yeah. For a company that likes to sell you the same game over and over again, they allow you to at least play the ones you bought last time.
Yeah, in terms of like Game Boy games in new Game Boys and GameCube discs in Wii and Wii U. It's kind of it though, actually. And Game Boy games in DS. And DS games in 3DS. Their portable backwards compatibility has been good.
It was always one generation backwards. And yeah.
I was just thinking like they didn't do it for GameCube and prior. Like you couldn't play an N64 game on a GameCube.
No, it was too different.
Or anything before that. The cartridges are always different. One final answer I've got, and like it needs a little workshopping, and I think there's a right one for this. There's a right answer that I don't quite have yet, but it's a Nintendo Crystal Switch for their Pro model. Okay. So, but like I'm saying crystal as in like it could be a different gem. It could be a Nintendo Diamond Switch, a Nintendo Emerald Switch. You know what I mean? Like something
not Emerald.
Yeah, no, I know. It's probably not going to be anything they've named a Pokemon game after.
Oh, recently. I just meant as in like they don't do the middle ones anymore. They only do the they do the first two, but they don't do the third Pokemon games anymore.
But like maybe like Nintendo Opal Switch. You know what I mean? Like something like that. It's like a modifier. It's not a Pro. It's not a Next. It's not a New. Right, it's just a bit shinier in the name. And then like the UI's got like angles on it. You know, it's got like lines through the. They come with themes for the Nintendo.
Because they're not making them for the Switch. They got to make them for their other thing.
Yeah, there's not enough bandwidth, hardware bandwidth on the regular Switch.
Were you a Game Boy kid? Carry.
I was a Game Boy Color kid.
Yeah.
Sort of when it was a bit late. Like I got mine when I was 2001. So I think Game Boy Advance was already out.
Mm.
So a lot of the games were out. I didn't have an exhaustive collection of Game Boy games. And what games I did get were usually hand-me-downs from people who'd had Game Boys for the last 10 years. You know, like Super Mario Land and Toy Story and stuff like that. But somewhat, yes. And then I didn't get a new Game Boy. I didn't get anything I could play Game Boy Advance games till the DS.
Yeah, right. Because I was thinking if they go the route that they've been doing, which is like, let's kind of repackage a lot of our old stuff, not really change it, charge you again.
Yep.
Maybe they might want to send you a Nintendo Game Bitch. Which is, you'll buy it anyway.
Uh-huh.
That's it. It's the beginning and the end of that thought.
Nintendo Game Sucker.
I've got two more.
Nintendo Money Sucker.
I've got two more. Do you have any more for Nintendo? Because these last two are not for Nintendo that I've got.
I'm out. I'm done for the episode.
All right. Imagine.
Okay, I'm closing my eyes.
We've got the envelope. It's a Nintendo Direct, but it's not a Nintendo Direct because we're not doing Nintendo. But it's like it's the same thing of like the letter gets handed. Another challenger is entering the battle.
Okay.
Sega's back. Kerry. They made enough money from their Sonic movies that they're back making consoles.
Uh-huh.
Look at the Sega Dream Machine, baby.
Sega Dream Machine.
The Dream Machine.
The SDM.
All of their games are now exclusive to the Dream Machine. They rip them off all the other platforms.
No more Sonic. No more Yakuza.
None.
No more Judgment.
Nah.
No more Persona.
The Yakuza Final Judgment now exclusive to the Sega Dream Machine.
Is that it? Did I list all of their pertinent things at once? No more Catherine.
There's a couple more.
What else do they own? They own a couple of fighting games, don't they?
Yeah, I think they own Virtua Fighter. Dream Machine,
Yes.
or Kerry. We go back to some of their roots. The some of their other consoles.
Mm-hmm.
What if they tied in a little bit with
Jupiter.
one of their most famous characters from the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise?
Yeah.
The Sega Big Cat or the Sega Big the Cat.
What about the Sega the Cat?
The Sega the Cat. Maybe we go back to some of their other roots. You know, we've had the Sega we've had the Sega Saturn.
Uh-huh.
What if we've got the Sega Uranus?
Uranus.
Or the Sega Jupiter, the Sega Mars.
Sega Pluto.
I actually quite like them calling their consoles after a planet. I think that was kind of neat. The Sega Saturn
Yeah.
is a really cool name for a console.
That's the one that failed in the end, isn't it?
It's one of the many.
Dreamcast was the one I was thinking of.
The Dreamcast was
their
the
final.
last one.
They're going to stay far away from any name with a dream in it.
Oh, but I love that name. I think that's a really awesome name for a console, the Dreamcast.
Yeah?
I think that's just like that evokes something. I don't know what, but it evokes something.
Dreaming, I think.
Yeah, but it's like it's the place to play the games of your dream.
What else? Jeremy, they are responsible for the Total War and Warhammer franchises.
Yep. Those are big ones.
Football Manager,
I was
Company
gonna
of
say,
Heroes.
Do they own Pro Evolution Soccer or what is now called eFootball?
No, that's Konami.
It's Konami, right?
They also own the Hatsune Miku games. They're responsible for those.
I thought you meant Hatsune Miku was a property, and I was like, surely not.
No. They've got the game rights, I think.
Right.
Football Manager, Virtua Fighter, and then a bunch of stuff I don't recognize.
Right. Cool.
Yeah. There are, so according to this website, vgsales.fandom.com/wiki,
Trusted.
So take this with a grain of salt. They do have resources. They do have citations. Sonic has sold software sales roughly 360 million copies across the franchise.
Bloody hell.
And then their next popular franchise is Puyo Puyo, coming in at 25 million.
Bloody
coming
hell.
in at like 6% of Sonic's total sales. So yeah, that's a funny one. I don't think they're gonna come back, Jeremy. Like
What?
that.
No.
What do you mean? I can't see it. Just like I can't see Atari or ColecoVision actually coming back. I know Coleco's trying.
Oh,
but
there's that scam. There's that Coleco scam that still exists.
Yeah, the ColecoVision. Apparently, they're still working on it.
I wish I could just. I want to know what is happening there so badly. It is such a rort, that whole thing.
Yep.
You've seen the.
It was like a trailer or something, wasn't it? They came out like
before that, there was like a box that inside of it had like some old video card that was strapped to something, and people looked at it and like they ID'd it, and they were like, "Yeah, this is a scam," and they were like, "Yeah, this is only proof of concept," and stuff like that. They're like, "Then why did you pretend that it was not?" And there was
Yep.
There are so many red flags.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't understand why someone would go so hard on, like, why they would really reinvest in such a niche system from so long ago that didn't continue.
Yeah.
Like, it's such a weird choice to try and reanimate that zombie.
It is very weird, and it is also not popular enough to work.
Yes. It's so strange. And they're taking so long with it too. They're taking so long to make it.
I think the thing is that that Coleco is the perfect size, actually, where they got the naming rights legitimately to try and play on nostalgia. But if it was any bigger, the company would be like, absolutely the fuck not. What are you doing to our brand?
Yeah.
But they are the right amount of small and niche that it works. Just.
That it might work.
Because you wouldn't be able to do it to Atari because they're still too big.
Yes, that's
what else?
true.
Like, what else would you be able to do it to? Like, the fucking those.
Ouya.
Ouya. Do it to the N-Gauge.
Yeah, the N-Gauge. Was that a Nokia front?
Yeah, Nokia is N-Gauge. The N in N-Gauge is Nokia.
First result on Google, like, suggested result is N-Gauge emulator. They call it a smartphone on Wikipedia. The N-Gauge is a smartphone.
It is a phone.
It's not a smartphone.
No, it's a smartphone.
I don't know, man. It came out in 2002.
Yeah, I didn't have an N-Gauge, but my Nokia phone was N-Gauge compatible.
Oh, right.
So I got to play. I got to download all the games, play them.
The N-Gauge is a smartphone combining features of a mobile phone and a handheld game system developed by Nokia, announced on 4th November, blah, 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 blah. Attempted to lure gamers away from the Game Boy Advance by including telephone functionality. This was unsuccessful, partly because the buttons designed for a telephone were not well suited for gaming. Yeah, it's just got like a number pad on the side.
Yeah.
The original N-Gauge was described as resembling a taco. Which led to its mocking nickname Taco Phone. That's so funny. It does. It's like flat on the bottom, and then on the top it's got that sort of crescent shape.
That's like a high school bully, like level insult.
Yeah. It's like how my online like account name on like Steam and PlayStation is like Scotch 24, and I was playing with someone, and this wasn't mean, but someone was like, "Oh, come here, Scotch tape." Like, oh, that's a good riff. That's good. They came out with the N-Gauge QD. It was released 2004. Revised the original N-Gauge's physical design, being smaller and rounder. It corrected the flaw of the original's cartridge slot placement with a more convenient one. This design was also moved the earpiece, retailed at a lower price, aided by the fact that it was usually sold with service contracts and applicable subsidies.
Yeah, it was there was too many cooks in that kitchen.
Yeah. I played one of these like a demo kiosk at an EB when I was way younger. I played like Tomb Raider for 10 minutes. I was like, this sucks. But I think part of that is because I don't think those first Tomb Raider games play well. That's it. We're out. We're done.
We're done.